Good morning, Judith.
I'd like to inform our viewers that I have the privilege today of interviewing Sister Dorothy Burns, formerly known as Sister James Marie. And Dorothy, for our viewers, I'd like to give a little preface before we begin our conversation. Since I've been here in the DLC, and since you arrived, I have observed you as the epitome of kindness. And I think that is so important in our world today because that spreads from one person to another. I remember many of our women telling me the story that Sister uh, Ruth Steiner, Marie Eugene, used to tell the postulants who would serve meals at Maria, if one of them were to complain about a sister, because the sister wasn't perhaps acting the way they thought she might act or react, she would say to the postulants, just remember, you don't get like that when you're old. Which is true, correct?
What do you get like?
So I have the sense that you came out of the womb oozing with kindness. So please tell me or share with me something about your mother and father.
Well, my mother and father were, my father was born in Canada, and my mother was born in St. Clair, Michigan. And my dad came over. In fact, they met at a dance, they tell me. And that's when they were both quite young. And so they kept relating to each other. And finally, my dad, of course, asked her to marry him. And so they were married in St. Mary's Church in St. Clair, Michigan. Uh-huh.
Well, and then they must have moved to the metropolitan area of Detroit, correct? Did they move closer to?
Well, my dad works for it was called the Interurban. It was a one-car train that traveled from city to city in a nearby area. But so he was transferred from, let's see, first of all, Ann Arbor to Monroe to Port Huron and back to Detroit, I guess. And then it went under and it went into the city.
The city
It's called the
transportation.
DSR, Detroit City Railroad. And he worked for those for many years and supervised the laying of tracks in the Detroit area. So that's what he.
That's quite a history.
Mm-hmm.
While they were living in Ann Arbor, that's when you came into the world, correct?
Well, I was born in Ann Arbor, yeah, but they didn't move to Ann Arbor to Detroit until I was about 3 years old.
And what parish did you belong to in Detroit?
First parish was All Saints on 4th Street, and that's where I had the IHM sisters. And then they moved over closer to my father's office on the north side, and that was St. Bridget's Church. And that's where I spent most of my elementary school. And then I went to St. Teresa's to high school.
So in elementary school, you had the Adrian Dominicans,
Yes.
correct? Yes.
After 3rd grade.
Yes. Do you remember the names of any of those sisters?
Well, my 1st grade teacher was IHM, was Sister Corona. And then the St. Bridget's, I had Sister Florence Treese, Sister Geralda, and then we had departmental work.
Yeah.
Pauline Berry, and our principal was Sister Grace Marie.
Lovely. And then you, did most of the students at Bridget go to St. Teresa's? Was that the nearest school?
I'm sorry.
For high school, you went to St. Teresa's? Did many of your classmates?
Oh, yeah, there was 17 of us. Quite a number for that. But see, we had no great high school at St. Bridget's, so we had to seek it otherwhere. So I went to where our sisters were, at St. Teresa's.
And it's from St. Teresa's that you enter the convent?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a sister that helped you prepare for your life in the...
But Sister Geralda,
Sister Geralda.
yeah. Yes, she was my 7th grade teacher, and then taught departmental in for upper grades, 8th grade.
Had you graduated before you entered?
No.
No. How old were you when you entered?
I think I was 17.
And then did you finish your
High
school
school
here?
in Adrian, at the academy. Mm-hmm.
How did you get the name James Marie?
James is my father's name, and Marie was my mother's second name. Her first name was Josephine, so it was too much.
James
So we
Josephine.
trimmed it down a bit.
Yeah. And did the students have a nickname for you?
I'm sorry.
Did any of the students have a nickname for you?
Oh, yeah.
They call you Jimmy?
Yeah. No, I tried it. Jimmy Jet. Jimmy Jet.
Jimmy Jep?
Jet, G-E-T.
Oh,
I don't know why I never asked them.
Well, the ministry that you engaged in through the years, I just have to applaud. I'm sure you were a favorite teacher of your students. What grade did you love teaching the most?
I think I like junior high the best. I like to, see them develop into young men and women. That's where you see your efforts take root, mostly.
And where did you teach junior high? What places? I think you told me somewhere along the line that you were changed frequently.
Yeah, like 20 times. That's good experience.
What did your family think of that?
Well, I didn't ask them. My dad thought about it. And he had Mother Gerald, he used to drive the sisters around. And finally my dad asked Mother Gerald why I was changed so much. Because he wasn't sure about my disposition being so affable. So she said, well, she's adaptable. Oh, that was a good answer.
Well, what a compliment, being adaptable. Did you say 27 times you were changed?
20.
20 times. Well, that's a record.
Mm-hmm.
A Guinness Book record, I think.
Well, when she didn't know what to do with somebody, she put me there.
Well, that's understandable from what I know of you right here, right now, Dorothy.
I enjoy life. I don't let much interfere with my happiness.
That is a gift. Were your mother and father like that?
Do I have what?
Were your mother and father like that? Were they happy people?
Oh, yeah. My dad was kind of a strict man. He was an Irishman, and he was kind of strict. But no, we knew they loved us.
And brothers and sisters?
I had 13. We were 15 children.
15.
15, one died at birth, and one died when he was 3. But the rest of us, I was the last one. And I'm not called the baby.
Are you the
Youngest.
The youngest, but the only living?
I'm the only one living.
Yeah.
Of
May I
this
ask,
generation. I have lots of nieces and nephews who are very good to me. Mm-hmm.
well, I understand why they would be good to you.
Well,
But may I ask,
but then they tell me I'm spoiled. I said, well, I didn't do it. So,
oh, how dear.
no, they truly were good to me.
Do they live in the Michigan area?
I don't have any brothers and sisters.
No,
with
but
me.
Your nieces and nephews?
No, the other people are scattered
I see.
all over.
And your age today is?
My age,
Mhm.
95.
Oh, Dorothy. What does that feel like?
I'll be 96 in October.
What does that feel like to say 95?
Well, I have good health.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yep, I'm up every morning and right at it. I love life, so I would want to be around it.
With a long face. No. Did you ever teach outside of the Michigan area?
Yes, I was in Cleveland, I was in Chicago, and I was in Elmwood Park, that's adjacent to Chicago, and in Arizona.
Arizona. Tell me about where were you in Arizona?
Well, I went out to Arizona with Reed Gilbert
Lavoy.
Lavoy, and went to a small town called, it won't come right now.
Wasn't it Gilbert, Arizona?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's where
yes.
it was.
I
Gilbert,
thought that
Arizona.
was so strange that Marie Gilbert went to Gilbert.
And she opened a kindergarten there. And the kindergarten we had no place to use except the garage. So she had the men lay a cement floor, and that's where I taught.
Were there any windows in the garage?
Pardon me?
Were there any windows in the garage? Probably not.
No.
No. But you
No.
left the door open because the weather.
Well, I don't know. It got kind of cold. And we had a wood stove that we heated it with. If you know the Lavoys, you know they're very resourceful people and very creative people. So it was hard to keep up with it.
And how long were you with Marie Gilbert?
1 year.
1 year.
Hmm.
I bet you.
I was supposed to go back, but another one of our sisters was quite ill, and she needed the fresh air and so forth, so I was brought back to Detroit.
Again, adaptable.
Adaptive. Well, I think our parents taught us that. You can't have what you want, but you want what you have.
Beautiful, beautiful. Do you have a favorite prayer?
Do I what?
Have a favorite prayer?
The guardian angel prayer.
Prayer. Angel of God, my guardian dear.
To whom God's love commits me here. Ever this day, be at my side, to light, to guard, to rule and guide.
Amen.
There's nothing better than a guardian angel.
No. As a child, did you kneel by your bed to say that prayer at night?
I say it often during the day,
Yeah.
but I do say it at night.
Mm-hmm. But even as a child, did your parents teach you to kneel at your bedside
Mm-hmm.
and say that prayer?
And during October and Lent, we said the rosary.
Mm-hmm. Dorothy, when you came to the Dominican Lives Center, have you always lived in the Maria section?
Yes, I was at St. Alphonsus, and I went, somebody had a party, and they brought some things, we had a walk-in icebox refrigeration, and I wanted to see what they had brought over. So I went down to look at it. I was the procurator at the house. And I went down to look at it, and I just turned to walk out, and I hurt my back somehow. That's how I landed here.
I see.
I came here by ambulance from, and that's where I stayed.
Yeah. So you've been here at least 10 years,
Something like that.
something like that. And who else was it? Who was your friend that is deceased? Betty
Dolan?
Dolan, yes. Had she lived with you there also at St. Al's?
No, she did. Well, she was here. Yeah, she died here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But had you lived with her before?
I lived with her at St. Elmo's. Yes.
St. Elmo's.
She was there. It was when they made that transition between somebody being the principal and somebody being the superior. And that's when she lived at St. Elmo's.
Was Sister Willard there? Sister Willard there at St. Al's when you were there?
I'm sorry.
Sister Willard.
Betty?
Uh,
Help me.
Sister Willard.
Oh, Willard, yes.
Yes. Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Was she there?
She taught in the high school.
Yeah.
I was principal of the grade school.
And did you live with Sister Sheila also?
Ruth Sheila, yeah.
And what about Pat?
Pat's Flattery.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Betty
And Betty Dickens.
Jenkins. Oh, that was a nice crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how has life been for you here in Maria?
How is it?
Yes.
Oh, it's just very wonderful. I couldn't want for anything. And everybody's very friendly and very helpful. And I'm just so glad I'm here.
Do you have a favorite?
Do I have
Do you
one?
have a favorite nurse?
No, I don't make favorites. They're all my friends.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And
There are some that I could work better with,
mhm,
but no, definitely.
that's beautiful. And aren't we lucky to have the meals that we have here?
Yes,
Yes.
very good. Everything's so perfect. I couldn't be happier.
Now, if
Maybe in heaven, I don't know.
oh, I bet. If I had two other chairs here, and you could invite whoever you would like that maybe have passed already or are already in heaven, and you'd like them to come back so you could have a good visit with them, who would those three people be?
I could visit with anybody, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, circumstances are not essential to my being friendly or enjoying them. There's some people you can get along with better than others, and so you avoid the ones that don't mix well with you. It's not their fault. So,
Would you love to have Sister Leonita here to talk to?
Leonida?
Yes.
Oh, she was a darling.
Mm-hmm.
She was here too, yeah. She lived to be 102, I believe. Mm-hmm.
And
She's my principal twice.
where was that?
St. Columbatus
In Chicago.
and then at St. Alphonsus.
Beautiful. And Sister Aurelia, could she be in this other chair?
Who?
Sister Aurelia?
Oh, she's a dear. That was in East Lansing. Mm-hmm. She had a sister Margaret, you know.
Yeah.
But Aurelia had a way, she could wind you around her little finger. You know, she'd come out to the kitchen. I was procurator there too. And she'd say, how about making such and such? I said, I never made that. Well, she said, you could. So
And you
if she
did.
liked it, that was it.
Who was the pastor there? I know he had,
In East Lansing,
yeah,
Monsignor McAcken.
he really was good to the congregation, wasn't he?
Hmm?
He was good to the sisters and
Well, I think so.
the
I don't know.
congregation, yeah. Was it, Sister Aurelia your superior there?
Yes,
Yeah.
the principal.
Uh-huh.
And then we had a ninth grade. She was there too.
Now, if Mother Gerald were sitting where I am, what would you want to say to her?
Hmm?
Mother Gerald Berry.
Which Mother Gerald was a fine woman, and I had deep respect for her. And she was she just no end to what she'd do to make the congregation better. And she took the rest with us, the rest with her.
How beautiful.
So she was to be admired. I didn't know her real well, but I met her and I took her out once when she was at St. Bridget's to another school, I suppose. I don't know. Don't recall. But she was a gracious woman, a daring woman, you know, an example to everybody. You know, if it's there, do it.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. Well, thank you for your time, Dorothy. This has been lovely.
It turned out better than I thought it would.
How's that?
I'm very allergic to microphones.
Well, you'd never know it.